What's up, good people? Live from the Good News radio station out in Hawthorne, California. It's your dynamic duo. NFL takes, topical tangents for the culture. Shout out to FBC Radio. Shout out to X Squad affiliates. It's our 5-year anniversary. Got some special guests in the house. Shout out to Mama Bay. Shout out to Nessa Sports holding it down again. Intern back in the house. And with that, we got a lot to talk about, and we got a long show. Not a long show, a lot of show, I guess I should say. Sorry, the Modelo's kicking in.
Wow, you're a lightweight. Well, yeah, shout out to X Squad affiliates. Everybody's been rocking with us the past 5 years. My mom, who has seen this podcast go from, hey, so I'm going to do this thing and be gone all the time, to now she's here in the studio listening to us.
Sure, we're going to talk a lot about that the second half of the show.
We'll get emotional at the end. Don't worry. She'll tell embarrassing stories about my childhood, all the things I did. Shout out to my nephew who just, violently ripped my glasses off and shit on my leg today. And slapped me in the face.
What a day.
We're going to square up when he get older. I'm definitely going to. As soon as he want to play football, I'm hitting him so hard with a forearm shiver. He better not play running back. Get it. He going to get it.
I'm looking forward to talking about the Chargers. Not because I'm a season ticket holder. Although it was fun.
Just admit you're a Chargers fan. Everybody gives me grief about the Rams situation.
I was definitely chanting for
definitely a Chargers fan.
Bro, you know how many Charger fans I trolled? The best part was I didn't even have to cheer, so I had lots of voice. Wasn't like what the Rams game. I had no voice.
Chris Paul was lots of voice. Hello, caller. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is David Drogemeyer from the Locked On Chargers podcast.
What's up, Dro? How you doing?
Hey, doing really well. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. So, folks, for those of you who don't know, this is Dro Talk SD on Twitter. He's the co-host of Locked On Chargers podcast. Really excited to have him here tonight. We were just getting into it with the Chargers. So, there was some good, there was some bad, and there was some ugly from week 2. What do you make of the last-second loss?
I mean, that loss happened because the Chargers beat themselves. I mean, they had 12 penalties in that game. 10 of them were on the offensive side.
Yep.
They had numerous big plays called back because of those penalties, and you just can't play winning football that way. Every time you get forward, you take a couple steps backwards, and you have to try to climb out of a hole, and it's just, you can't win that way. So that was a big problem. Also, the run defense was absolutely terrible. The Dallas Cowboys ran wild on the Chargers, almost 200 yards rushing. They were running for close to 6 yards per carry, and when you're running to that effect, it's pretty hard to stop a passing attack because you just don't know what you're going to get. So Dak was very efficient. He didn't have to do much, but he did enough, and he managed the game to where he gave their kicker a chance, and he made the kick. So the Chargers just beat themselves in that game.
Yeah, and everything that the internet's been saying about it is basically the same old Chargers. Do you feel that way as someone who's close to the team? Or do you feel like...
No, not at all.
Okay.
I don't feel that way at all. I think that's pretty much a macro level, so a kind of a lazy take, if you will, because
Amen.
Last year's team would not have been so aggressive. And I mean, Brandon Staley went for it on 4th down on his 35-yard line because that was the analytically correct call to make. He also went for 2 early in the football game when usually that decision isn't made by a lot of old school type of head coaches. I also think this defense is going to get much, much better. They're a lot more aggressive. They really set up their one-on-ones, which I think guys like Joey Bosa and Derwin James are going to take advantage of eventually. I also think this offense is very prolific. I think they're one of the best passing offenses in the league. They just need to do better in the red zone. If they increase their conversion in the red zone from the current 30% to, closer to 75, 80%, which I think they're capable of, this is a completely different offense. So I think this team just needs a little bit more time to gel. They need to get on the field and play some more offense, more defense. And the more they do that, the more these coaches will learn their players and then adjust and really put them in the position to win.
And with that, you guys are in one of the hardest divisions. Started off undefeated. Now you got the Chiefs. What are you looking forward to in that game? What scares you the most?
Well, what scares you the most is Patrick Mahomes' ability to create off script. He can roll out of the pocket. He can throw from numerous different arm angles, and he can throw with touch and accuracy. So you really have to continue to cover through the whistle. You can't allow him. You can't allow yourself to get lazy and allow him to make those off-script plays. You have to try to take away Travis Kelce with Derwin James, which I think he is capable of doing. Obviously, he's not going to be covering him every snap, but you want to try to do that as much as possible. And also, you want to bracket Tyreek Hill. You don't want Tyreek Hill to ruin this game for you. Obviously, he has the speed to take the top off the defense, and those are the two weapons that you do not want to beat you. Fortunately for the Chargers, the Chiefs' run defense is absolutely terrible. They've given up over 400 yards on the ground. They are very susceptible in that way. I think the Chargers can find a lot of success on the ground, and I think they win this game if they're able to stay on the field, stay clean, and keep Patrick Mahomes and their defense on the sideline.
Now, with the way they played last week, you look at the Chargers' makeup, and they're obviously not afraid to throw deep, take chances. Herbert did take some chances, and he got that pick from Diggs. And he threw it to another corner. I forget his name, but when you look at that offense,
Monte Casey.
Mm-hmm. So when you look at that offense and the chances they might take against this Chiefs defense, who also loves to gamble, what do you think? Because I look at Jared Cook and some mistakes he made, and I'm worried about that tight end position. Where do you think is the biggest, weakest link in this passing attack for the Chargers?
Well, the biggest link on the passing attack is not the weapons at all. I think all these weapons are used in very specific ways. Keenan Allen's used to move the chains. They're getting Mike Williams more involved in yards after catch opportunities, which he's really cashing in on right now. He actually leads the team with that through 2 games with 59 yards after the catch. Jalen Guyton's the speed guy. He's also been used as a decoy to try to open things up over the middle. But the biggest deficiency or kryptonite for this team currently is the right tackle position. They need better play out of Storm Norton. Last game he got abused by Micah Parsons, which is a little embarrassing because Micah Parsons hasn't played defensive end since high school. Also,
he does run a 4.340 though.
He had a little bit of it. What's that?
He does run a 4.3740, so that helps.
He does, but also, when you go in to try to block, I heard this from Daniel Jeremiah. Basically, tackles is very mentally driven. They like to know who they're going up against, so they can try to get into their pass sets according to who they're going to face. So the Cowboys and Micah Parsons kind of had that element of surprise that they used to great effectiveness in that game. So they need to get better play out of Storm Norton. I think you love what you've seen on the other side with Rashawn Slater, and really the rest of this offensive line's been pretty decent. But if they get better play from their right tackle, then I think this offense is definitely capable of putting up a lot more points than they have done. But like I said, got to capitalize in the red zone, especially against this Chiefs team who can score from anywhere.
So does that mean Brian Bulaga was a mistake, or he just has terrible luck ever since leaving the Packers and getting hurt there? Because I feel like he's the quintessential athletic right tackle for what they want to do, but do you see Storm Norton as the long-term solution? Or are they going to go get Schofield again, who got eaten?
Storm Norton is a stopgap, guys. We got to see it. Call it how we see it here. He's a decent player. He can provide a couple of good games in the meantime, but you really do need Brian Bulaga to come back and hopefully give you some meaningful snaps here. But as it stands right now, I think it is a little bit of a mistake to bring in Brian Bulaga and pay him the kind of money that the Chargers paid him, because he hasn't been able to produce. Even last year, he only played like 43% of the snaps, which, a guy who's getting paid $10 million a year, that's not a good return on your investment. So I do expect the Chargers to look at a right tackle very early in the draft. They need to solidify that line. I love all the other pieces they have, But that right there is a glaring hole, and I expect them to address it in the draft next season.
What about Mitchell Schwartz in free agency? Do you think they wait till he gets healthy and he's ready to play for a contender? Because I feel like he could be useful in that AFC West. Led the
definitely. A guy who's obviously very familiar with the competition, too. I mean, playing with the Chiefs, he's played a lot of games, a lot of good football. I think the Chargers definitely have to entertain it, although I think they would probably look at an internal option that is already on the roster, a guy like Matt Filer who's playing left guard. I don't think they want to disjoint him and move him away from Rashawn Slater because they like that veteran presence next to him. But he's played right tackle in this league at a high level, so I think that would probably be the move that they make before they go out and look for someone on the street.
All right, so in the grand scheme of things, where do you place the Chargers in the AFC West in the playoff picture? What's your most optimistic picture, and what would be kind of your doomsday situation?
Yeah, I think my most optimistic situation here is I still do think this team is very capable of winning a lot of football games. I mean, I think at the ceiling, if they fix the mistakes and they clean things up and they increase their ability in the red zone and they get a little bit better against the run, this team is capable of winning, I think, 11 or 12 games. I mean, I really do believe that. There's a lot of talent up and down this roster, but the doomsday thing, I think, is if someone major gets injured, like a Joey Bosa, a Keenan Allen, obviously a Justin Herbert, if any of those guys get hurt, this season could look a lot worse. And, I mean, it could easily be a 5 or 6 win team. So, and if they don't get out of their own way, I mean, the Chargers got to get rid of that moniker, the Chargers are going to Charger. But until they do that, until they prove to me that they can win against a division opponent, an opponent that's been so dominant, and the Chiefs, obviously the division goes to the Chiefs, guys. If you don't beat them, then you're not going to do anything. So they got to show me, and that starts on Sunday.
And you look at Kenneth Murray going down early against the Cowboys, that really hurt them. And Kelsey's obviously great in space because, I mean, you saw how many tackles he broke against the Ravens. And that linebacker core is insanely athletic. Do you think that's kind of they have the advantage going into this week because they have, Kenneth Murray who can go sideline to sideline, runs a sub 4.5, Drew Tranquil, who's a converted safety. They got Kazir White, who's also a converted safety. They got fast, athletic guys who can cover. Do you think that's a plus or a minus going against Kelsey and Hardeman and the other guy they got at slot receiver?
Pringle. Yeah.
Pringle and then the dude out of Florida. I forget his.
They got a lot of talent, obviously. Yeah, they got a lot of talent, man. They're incredibly talented, and they got a lot of speed. They got some of the best speed in the NFL. So, but you know who they're going to go to. You know who their money guys are. You know it's Travis Kelce. You know it's Tyreek. So, like I said earlier, I think they're going to try to use Derwin James as much as possible to try to take Travis Kelce out of the game, and he's very capable of doing it. The first time they met, I think they limited him to about 60 yards, and you're not going to like stop him completely. I mean, nobody's really capable of doing that, but if you want to try to limit his effectiveness, that's what you got to try to do. And one of the big keys for that is to jam him off the line. You can't allow this guy to get a free release. They do put him in motion a lot to try to avoid that, but every time you get an opportunity to jam him at the line and really mess with his timing, you really have to take advantage of those opportunities because obviously he's a huge security blanket for Patrick Mahomes.
All right, and then the last question is really just for you. You're obviously an Army vet. You're from San Diego. So what do the Chargers mean to you? Why do you put so much time into knowing this team as thoroughly as you clearly do? And what's your sales pitch to maybe a casual Chargers fan out there who didn't buy my season tickets on Sunday?
Well, the reason why I put so much time into this team is because this is the team I grew up watching, grew up cheering for, and now I am doing this as a professional. I get paid to cover the team by the network that I work for. I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. And we do this every day, guys. I mean, we do 5 shows a week,
Facts.
52 weeks a year. So
Facts.
we're grinding. We're putting stuff out every single day. So if you are a Charger fan and you want the most up-to-date information at all times, you can find us on literally any social media platform that you like, or also, podcasting platform out there that you like to choose. Spotify, Apple Music, Odyssey, wherever you find your podcast, you can find the Locked On Chargers podcast, because we're really literally there every single day.
I just mean, like, in terms of you following the team, in terms of you already being a part of something else, like, why should an Angelino want to be a part of that, I guess, is what I'm asking. What would be your pitch to them?
That's what you're asking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons to be excited about being a Charger fan. One, you get to play in SoFi Stadium, which if you guys have not been to that stadium,
I have. It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
It's 4K in real life.
It's a castle.
For real.
It is literally one of the most beautiful stadiums I've seen in the world. I've been to a lot of different stadiums, and this one's a modern marvel. Second thing is Justin Herbert is incredible, guys.
Facts.
I think we're just scratching the surface of his ability. He can throw 70 yards on a dime. He can create. He can extend the play. He's incredibly intelligent. He's very good at processing. He's a very smart kid. He's very likable. This kid is definitely one of the next young phenoms in the NFL. And also, it's a great, crazy
He's already there.
defense. And I think they finally have a head coach that can finally point them in the right direction. I know they've made some mistakes early, but I don't think that's a reflection of what this team is going to look like at the end of the year. A lot of things going right for the Chargers, a lot of reasons to follow this team.
All right, David. Well, why don't you go ahead and let the people know where they can find you one more time? Anything else that you got big coming up that they should be aware of, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, you can definitely find me on Twitter at DroTalkSD. You can also find the show on Twitter at LockedOnLAC. Also on Instagram, Locked On Chargers. On Facebook, Locked On Chargers. And like I said, we're doing shows every single day of the week. The next show we're going to put out is tomorrow, which is our keys for success against the Kansas City Chiefs. And we'll definitely be back on Monday to recap the game, and every other day to make sure we break down everything that happens with the Chargers. Check us out.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Keep up the great work. I'll definitely be tuning in. And if you know anyone who needs Charger tickets, I got 211. Hit me up.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much, guys. You have a great night.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was David Dro from the Locked On Chargers podcast. Continuing going around the AFC and NFC West every single week here on Touchdowns and Tangents. Anything else you want to say, Mister? I'm going to try to out-talk the Charger guy on the Chargers.
I didn't. You just have to lay out the narratives, bro. Like, we watched the Cowboys.
You was overcompensating.
They got shredded, bro. They got shredded by Tony Pollard. Zeke didn't even hit 100 yards. Tony Pollard shredded them all game. Every time we touched
Zeke
the ball.
shredded him too. It just didn't get as many touches.
And then
he still finished with over 100
CJ Lamb
yards.
lined up at running back and almost broke one for a touchdown.
Yeah, you try to tackle CD
Coming out of the back
Lamb
by that running with CD Lamb, I mean.
with a 5 yards momentum head start.
Okay.
I'm good.
Your defensive tackle should have better run fits. Your linebacker shouldn't be out of space, out in space like that, just wandering. Like, I get Zach Martin's Hall of Fame level talent, but it's
Zach Martin didn't even play, did he? I thought he was hurt.
Didn't he play for this one?
Thought he's hurt.
He definitely. I'm pretty sure he played.
I don't know. I thought he was hurt.
No, he missed the first week for sure. Because they're what? 1-1.
Honestly, I was just really surprised that Greg DeLay hit all those kicks.
Yeah, that was
because the week before he was bad.
I was like, he's gonna miss. It's going over.
That's what I wanted to ask him was about Asante Samuel Jr., who the Raiders passed on. Beat you to it. Haha.
You did. You monster.
AFC Player of the Week. He had 2 pass deflections and his first pick of the year. Somehow lost the ball, but you're DB. It's all right.
I mean,
we wouldn't expect
one
anything
Florida
more
State prospect worth drafting, and the Raiders don't get to him. Pain, just nonstop pain. But as far as the Chargers go, yeah, it's like Jared Cook, Parnham, like the tight end position has to produce. They can't disappear. Like when Cook should have had that touchdown and then ended up being an illegal formation, it's like, come on. You've been in the league how long?
I mean,
you've been in the league how long?
Fair.
Jared Cook. Like they lost that game.
I mean, it could have been called on him, but it could have also been on somebody else who was off.
Yeah, but
he might have not necessarily been the one who was off.
That's true, but like there were other penalties. There were drops. There were drops early in the game that stunted drives for them. And the Cowboys are almost. I want to say
honestly,
not a
dude,
mirror, but they're kind of a mirror to the Chargers. The Cowboys and the Chargers are kind of like Spider-Man memes pointing at each other.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game. It was fun. Like I said, to be there,
I bet you
booing, talking smack, and like really not having a vested interest in either side. Really just hating both sides, so it was pretty cool.
How I'm going to be in Boston?
It was just funny to me. Like, there were so many Cowboy fans who paid so much money, and they were just like, they were happy, but not really. Like, they were just like, their expectations were so high. And then it was like the Charger fans.
Just happy to be there?
They were just happy to be there, and then they chargered, and then they were just like withdrew within themselves.
What was the ratio of out of pocket male Cowboys fans? Because we know like
I didn't see that many.
They're the problem in society, if we're being honest.
I didn't see that many. For me, the biggest problem was just I was trying to get rid of my tickets so bad, and then it just got to a point to where it's like, dude, I'm not signing them below what I paid for them.
So you have
I'm just gonna take my ass there.
Tickets.
I'm just going to take my ass there.
You knowingly bought Chargers season tickets, but you claim to be a Raiders fan.
Yeah, and that's why I'll be there on October 4th.
Captain America.
Mister, I spent my Raider ticket money to go to Boston for 2 days.
Oh, no, I got Raider ticket money. Who told you I didn't have Raider ticket money?
Let's go then. October 4th.
Okay, then.
Monday night. Call off.
Okay.
Yeah, you got enough notice.
You say that on wax,
because
like they're gonna be
tell you,
hey, bro,
I give you 2 weeks notice.
That is fair. That is fair.
So that way you can't be like, oh, you schedule me.
I'm gonna come back and ask for more time off.
Just call out.
Like, yo, I don't.
Bro, COVID is real. Just say you got COVID. I already told you that.
Somebody actually got COVID at my job.
All right, so now you're next. It's all good. That's 2 weeks off. Paid vacation. Paid.
I'm gonna be like, yo, I don't feel too great. My arm's still.
You ain't even gotta say you got COVID. You could just mysteriously talk around potentially having COVID, and you get 2 weeks off.
I actually have really bad migraines, and like I can't see, so I'm not coming in, guys. Like I can't see shit. My head hurts.
They're gonna be like, are you coughing? Do you have a fever? No. All right, then
slight
you can come
cough.
in.
No,
you can come in. They'll be like, nah, you can come in there.
Like, no.
You just gotta be like,
we really need you,
my
bro.
head is warm, and like, I woke up and I felt sore, and like, you know,
this is totally damn.
I don't usually cough, but I had like a little. I had a little, you know, and it was just like, no,
like that.
Yeah, and they'll be like, oh no, you should definitely stay. Oh, do you need COVID? Yeah,
I really be having migraines, so I just say that. Like, yo, I have migraines. I can't fucking see. Like, I physically, like, my shit is blurry, dog. Like, I'm not fucking around, cut my wrist trying to wash something or boil my hand alive.
Yeah, but the thing is, migraines aren't contagious.
But migraines are. Have you actually had a migraine? You know how debilitating they are?
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying.
Like, no, like, imagine if you were blind and you couldn't see. Imagine if you were blind and you couldn't see.
I'm just saying you're
But imagine if you were blind and you couldn't see. Which, by the way, are symptoms of COVID. So.
You're blind and you can't see if you got COVID? I ain't heard of that one. Is that the new strand?
Some people.
Is that the Xi strand?
That's the Zeta, Beta, Gamma, fucking Alpha, whatever. I don't know. There's too many gang affiliations.
Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Zeta, Eta, Theta, Iota, Lambda, Mu, Nu, Zu, Xi, Omicron, Pi, Phi, Chi, Psi, Omega.
So, no, I'm just playing. I'm joking. But no, there's way too many gang affiliations.
Muscle memory.
Or
12 years later.
Is it trauma taking its toll?
Both.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of trauma, like the Chargers, realistically, they should be on the curve, and they should They should. Well, I guess we'll never know.
I guess that wraps it up for the Chargers talk.
Yep. So nobody. Damn it. Mouse is upside down. I got it. Let go. I got it. Everybody relax. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Connor. How are you?
What's up, Connor? How you doing, sir?
How you been?
Great. How are you guys?
Good. You feeling well? Doing well?
Yeah, I'm feeling well. I'm feeling good. I had COVID about a month ago, but that's done and dusted. I didn't even have it that bad, thank goodness. So I'm feeling good.
That's great to hear, man. Amen. These high schoolers need you out there in these streets covering them.
They need you. I'm looking at Max Preps lately.
Appreciate it.
I'm looking at Max Preps, and I'm like, I don't see any roster updates. So, yeah. But all jokes aside.
Love it.
All jokes aside, there's so much that's been happening in high school football. A lot of teams rescheduled a couple of their games. The whole Manny Douglas disappeared again, but he's like no longer the he was no longer the coach at St. Bernard's, and now St. Bernard's like they canceled their whole season. Like what?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think Manny. No, I think we won't see Manny Douglas again, for better or for worse. And then with St. Bernard, with him leaving, all the kids transferred out, the vast majority of them, and so they didn't have enough to field a varsity team. So Steve Broussard, who was named the new head coach, just elected to have a practice here, and they're just going to practice all year. And there was talk, I don't know if they're going to play 3 games in the league or whatever. I'm not totally sure. That was, I think Eric Sontheimer in the LA Times said that they might just have league play, but I'm not exactly sure where things stand. But pretty much overall what happened was they didn't have enough guys, so they're just going to practice all year and come back next year. Crazy.
Yeah. And with the whole landscape, I feel like let's say schools like Mater Dei, Mission Viejo, obviously the big two, St. John Bosco, and like schools like that, it feels like the fanfare isn't as high, but it also feels like those schools pretty much started back really quick and had they were much more in tune, because there are some schools out in the Valley, out in the South Bay, they really haven't recovered since the whole COVID situation.
Yeah, I think what happened was, like we've talked about on the show a couple times, there are the haves and the have-nots, and the haves, they weren't practicing, so to speak, but they were checking in on their kids, and maybe they even weren't practicing a little bit when they shouldn't have been, and just they were running a very tight ship during COVID. And then there were other schools and teams where they had very tough, for whatever reason, whether it's because they were public school or just they were privates who really were COVID-19 conscious, who just were really forced to follow very stringent rules and couldn't see their kids as much. And so I think what happened was there were some teams where once the COVID stuff ended, they were able to get going like nothing had really happened. And then other teams where this has been a year-long thing, and when you can't see your kids for a year, what's going to happen? You're not going to be very good. It's going to take a while to get back to speed. And so I think that's the dichotomy we're looking at, where a lot of the best teams, they said, we're going to follow the rules, but we're still going to try to be the best team that we can. And other teams said we have more important things to worry about right now. And they weren't as prepared for the comeback this year. So I definitely agree with that. I think there are the haves who were always going to be great. They're still great. And then the have-nots who followed the COVID stuff very, very strongly, and they're in some trouble now on the football field. But maybe they're better off in the long run because they didn't follow the rules.
So, the thing with COVID is it's like it really just accelerated a lot of what was already happening, right? Like we already saw the numbers falling off and the teams getting smaller and smaller, like across the board. And now the things you mentioned, like as far as the players' maturity, like, I talked to some of the people I used to coach with at Birmingham, my brothers at Luzinger, like they're experiencing the same sort of things. And it's like So I guess, is there any sort of solution, or is this just kind of where we're at, where it's like, some schools are going to have football and some of them aren't. Some of them are going to have one team, some of them are going to have two. Like, do we ever get back to quote unquote normal?
I'm not sure about the city section, because I know in the city section there are a lot of teams that maybe it would be better off if there were 3 schools who had one team, because the numbers are so small. But I think
you heard it here first.
Birmingham and Lusinger, I think those 2 schools have great head coaches right now. So as long as Jim Rose is at Birmingham and Brandon Manumaluna is at Lusinger, those schools will be just fine. But down the line, if something were to happen and those coaches were no longer there, then they might be in trouble, in the sense that they don't have the numbers, just because there isn't that established figurehead at the top of the program. So I don't know. I want to say that in the city section, that might be a good idea. But then you do see a team like Taft, who was terrible and was dealing with a lot of issues for about 15 years. I think they're either 2-1 or 2-2 now, so they're doing something right. But there was talk like, if Taft is so bad, why don't they team up with another school? So I think it's all about who your head coach is. But at some point, a head coach can't help the numbers if there just aren't any. You know what I mean? Like a head coach who's really established and is good might be able to get kids who wouldn't otherwise come out to play. But if the head coach is great and there just aren't kids interested, then maybe it would be a good idea, especially in the city section, to team up and have multiple schools field one varsity team. I know that is something that Ronnie Flores has talked about a little bit. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him. He covers basketball, and he went to Van Nuys High, I think, and is just an established city section guy. He's talked about that. I don't know if that's been talked about at all outside of that, but that always made sense to me. If there are only 10 kids coming out, why not try to combine teams? So we'll see if that's...
that's essentially what they're doing with all the different charter schools that they have now, like with academics.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it makes sense. I guess what I'm worried about is just, like right now it's relatively okay because, these players learned, but I'm just worried about when the COVID classes, seniors, like the amount of talent the coaches are going to be fighting for isn't going to be the same as it is even now or 2 years ago.
Or if they're just disinterested. Because, like Crenshaw had to forfeit a game because they had, I think, like 13
Well, even
kids.
last year, you could play every sport.
Yeah.
At one time.
Technically, yeah.
So it's just... I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's a very exciting time to be following it, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel bad for Crenshaw. I know they're playing now, but not starting on time. That was an example of just LAUSD, I think, having some really tough rules. And then Coach Garrett at Crenshaw, he just didn't have enough players. And I think we saw some kids who were... I don't really know exactly what was happening, but I think at the beginning of the year he had 10 kids, and now he has over 20, so they can play games. And I don't want to speculate as to why there are more kids now than there were before, but I think he had to recruit and have some of the kids who were there from the beginning call their friends and say, hey, do you want to play? Which is crazy to talk about with Crenshaw. That school used to have so many kids and used to have such a great team. But I think COVID really killed them. And I'm glad they're playing now, but at the beginning of the year, it looked like, will they even have a team, which was crazy. It's Crenshaw. You'd think that would never happen. But that they've certainly been hit with it among the worst of anyone in the region, and it's very sad.
Yeah, same with Narbonne. Weirdly, Inglewood has managed to kind of use some of that momentum they had from that legendary season they had with the receiver they had who's now at Colorado and their quarterback who's now at Rhode Island. They're destroying teams right now. Like Inglewood is really in a resurgence with football. So there are some schools that are kind of learning to thrive. Like Lawndale's still Lawndale. They just beat Cathedral. But when you look at the recruiting aspect, the landscape, because JUCO football has also started back up. And it feels like that senior class from last year that nobody talked about, that is now the JUCO. It's like the recruiting aspect is different. Like Lane Kiffin talked about how Alabama could just cherry pick the best recruits who are transfers, the best transfers they can get, an Ohio State receiver, a Tennessee linebacker. But you look at the high school level and how some of the best recruits, like Quinn Ewers, he decided to just totally forego his senior year. As a high school junior, he's now enrolled at Ohio State. Like, he pulled a JT Daniels. And, yeah, I guess it worked out for JT Daniels. But you look at the recruiting aspect, how is that helping, like, fringe recruits?
I think it's really hurting them because it's really tough to get a scholarship out of high school now with all the kids, because of COVID, who in college elected to use that fifth year or that extra year of eligibility, however you want to call
7-year
it.
seniors?
So, yeah, exactly. So that made it so recruiting classes were even smaller. And I remember back in the spring, during the spring season, I went to Loyola High and I talked to a couple of those fringe kids, and they were like, damn, I wish I committed back when I had the chance to. I thought it would be in my best interest to just wait, see what other options opened up. And then as COVID got worse and worse, and it became clear that kids in college were going to get an extra year, that would affect, that would have a ripple effect. And that made the freshman classes a lot smaller for all the colleges across the country. And those kids now had to go JUCO, which is, JUCO isn't necessarily that bad. You can get out of JUCO, but if you're a kid who had a chance to be a Division I player and then has to go to JUCO after having that opportunity taken away, that's really unfortunate. And I think that happened for a lot of kids. So my advice, if you're a fringe recruit and you have a committable offer, you should take it, because the classes, even though the NCAA now is trying to do something, I think I saw today to help mitigate what happened, and they're trying to make bigger classes. Who knows exactly what will play out? And if you have a committable offer, take it, because the classes are definitely getting smaller with the transfer portal, and B, COVID affecting an extra year of eligibility and making it so that kids can stay in college longer. Thus, the classes are getting a little smaller.
And how is the Commissioner Wygod, how is he, and even the high school coaches that you've talked to, like, how are they handling that or being proactive about that?
Well, there's honestly not really much they can do besides just showcase the players the best they can. I remember when COVID hit, a lot of parents said, well, my senior only got 5 or 6 games. Can they come back and play and for another year? And the CIF always said, no, you only have 4 years. You will only ever have 4 years. And I believe only one state in the country made a change that allowed high school seniors who otherwise would have graduated to come back, and that was Kentucky. So it's not like there are very many states who allowed that to happen. And I think this is just a life lesson. Sometimes you get dealt an unfortunate hand, and if your 4th year is a COVID year and you didn't get recruited the way you expected, that's too bad. And try to put your best foot forward at the junior college level or Division II or Division III, and maybe you can matriculate up to a Division I school later on. But again, no one saw this coming, and I don't really know what coaches or the commissioner could have done to help a lot of kids, just in the sense that it wasn't something that they did that affected these kids. It was this event that affected the whole country. And when a college coach has the option of taking like a 22 or 21-year-old kid who's played or had a couple years at least in the college system, or even that age kid in his own system, and they're able to stay for an extra year, they're probably going to take the older kid versus a fringe younger player. And I think that's what we saw play out.
Yeah, and with that, it kind of brings to mind the whole, because you said Kentucky's one of the only schools that does that, but I mean, that school, was it out in Ohio, Bishop Sycamore? They had that scandal. What were you thinking when you saw that?
Well, what's crazy is the Bishop Sycamore quarterback, I think his name is Trill Harris.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was at Mission Viejo for a couple years, and he has already used all 4 of his years of high school eligibility. So I know they're not a real high school, so he can do whatever he wants. But if it was a real high school, he wouldn't be able to play. I have plenty of thoughts on that. It's just really sad. And I'm in a big high school football group chat with a bunch of California parents, and most of the parents were saying, what's going on? This is an awful situation. But then some were saying, like, oh, anything to get a scholarship, anything to get a scholarship. When, in my opinion, playing at Bishop Sycamore is like just the easiest way out. You know, it is. You know what I mean? Like that. It was just, if you have any brain at all, you would not send your child there, or you would not advocate for someone you know to go there. That is just such a bad idea. And then, of course, they get
the easiest way to say I'm not a scholarship athlete.
Tell me how you want to commit.
Exactly.
Tell me how you want to commit fraud without telling me you want to commit fraud.
Exactly. Tell me how you want to take the easy way out, and then they took the easy way out. So it's not even without taking the easy way out. That was something that really bothered me. It's like, yeah, everyone wants to play Division I football, but if you're not quite there and you're too old, there are options. And you go to junior college, or you go to a Division II or Division III. You go somewhere where they will take you. You don't go to a fake high school in the hopes of going D1, because our college coach is going to take any kids from that school? No, not at all. I thought that was pathetic.
All right, Connor. Well, last question, since we've been talking to you a few times here and there throughout the pandemic. What have you learned as a journalist over these last 18 months? Like, what's the takeaway for you as you move through this second COVID season, 1.5 COVID season?
2.4 probably.
That's a great question. Well, I think first I've just learned that my employer, SB Live, formerly Scorebook Live, they
we going to
really
initials now?
What was that?
We're going to initials now?
Yeah.
All
SB
right.
Live is we had a little bit of a rebrand.
Okay.
I think the first thing, because when COVID hit, I thought, okay, I'm seeing a lot of reporters either get laid off or just get straight up fired because there isn't enough money for them right now with no sports going on. And I thought, in the first week of the pandemic, I thought, okay, I'm toast. And if I was toast, like, I understand. There's nothing happening. If they got to let me go, I totally get it. The unforeseen circumstance, I won't be that upset because this is such a crazy thing. But then the fact that SB Live not only stuck with me, but stuck with every employee at the company, I just learned how great of an employer they are, and that really is probably the first thing on my list in terms of what I learned. That's something that, as I age and as I grow up, I'll never forget just how they took such good care of their employees during a very difficult time, when you saw countless examples of other institutions maybe not taking as good care of their employees. So
plus he wasn't trying to go back home to the East. It's all right, Connor.
We love the beach.
You know how much you love it.
I had a great summer in Massachusetts, but I was covering high school sports in like Arizona and Arkansas. Like, they found work for me, which was great.
Okay.
And I mean, something else I learned, I think, remember that the club football, that whole
the winner circle.
Yeah. And I know there's still people trying to say, like, oh, like, my kid got offers from there. And I mean, maybe there are a few kids who a college coach saw their tape from, like, the Arizona Club League or that and offered.
Yeah, Corey Feldman. Are they counting Corey Feldman in their stats?
Yeah, exactly. Like, people already knew about him.
Exactly.
And so my thing was, like, during a pandemic, during a nationwide sort of just a bad situation, there are going to be people who are going to try to take the easy way out, kind of like Bishop Sycamore. And I thought, if the people who did the right thing, stayed true to themselves, and this is such a cliche, but trusted the process, even though the process had a huge wrench thrown into it. I think those people today, in whatever day it is, September 23rd, I think those people, A, are in a much better position, and B, can just feel good about themselves, versus the people who are so desperate, try to take the easy way out, said, my son has to, this is the only way to get a scholarship. If you did the right thing during a tough time, I think you're looking a lot better today than if you had done the wrong thing. And I think we learned a lot about what is right and what is wrong. And the people who were right, I think, look great now, and the people who are wrong don't look as good.
Amen. And I think that really sums up what you started with, too, with your employer. The same thing. Doing the right thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm glad to hear you guys are still rocking this show and still doing a great job. I remember, like I said, I spent the summer in Massachusetts. I took a couple of your calls on the East Coast as well, and that was always fun. So thank you guys, as always, for having me on, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Appreciate you, and definitely facts, because Jake Garcia definitely trusted the process and went all the way to Georgia, ended up on a reality TV show, and then still got the scholarship to Miami. He went to like 6 high schools in 4 years. That's amazing. Like,
but he's a guy who didn't need to do that. He would have gotten his scholarship no matter what. He had proven it.
Exactly. He's just like, I want to play. Like, I respect that. He went all the way to Georgia.
I respect that, but his parents really effed up by going to ESPN and saying, "Look at what we're doing. We figured it out." And then the Georgia Athletic Association said, "Wait, you can't get divorced just to have your son play football."
That was wild. That's the tax. Oh man, that's going to be a 30 for 30 down the line. We're going to cover that.
I hope so.
All 3 of us are going to be in the documentary. It's going to be fantastic. It'll be our 10th year anniversary show or something. But thank you, Connor.
Beautiful.
Tell everybody your socials. Tell everybody what games you're covering this week, and what you got coming up.
Awesome. I am at C_Morrissette on Twitter, RSST. Worked for Scorebook Live. Used to be Scorebook Live, now SB Live. And on Friday, tomorrow, I'm going to be at Damien at Bishop Amat. It's a tough week for games. There aren't too many big games this week. The other big one is Norco at Sierra Canyon, but I'm going to see Norco later on. I've already seen Sierra Canyon. But October 1st, a week from tomorrow, the bunch of huge games. That's when Mater Dei will play St. John Bosco in the regular season, and there are a bunch of other great ones. So we'll have full coverage of all the big games on sblive.com/California. And like I said, that was my Twitter earlier. So, again, thank you guys for having me on. I always enjoy these.
All right, man. Take it easy. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Peace. And hopefully he can find Losinger's stats on Scorebook Live. By the way, I caught that you said Lozinger wrong.
Last week.
You said Lozinger wrong, by the way. I heard you
said loser?
No, you said Lousinger or some weird shit. Like, shout out to my mom. She can't say phenomenal. It's okay. I can't say certain words. My older sister can't say dishes.
This is why you get in trouble, bro.
It's fun getting in trouble.
Your mom ain't doing nothing.
It's fun, though.
She's minding her own business.
Isn't it fun?
Listening on her phone, bro.
Isn't it fun getting in trouble, though?
You over here to take a shot.
Isn't it fun?
Bro, you couldn't even debrief the interview. You had to get your shot.
I debriefed it because I know my mom's going to come in and kill me at the end of the show. Like, I know it's coming. Like, she's about to unveil, like, damaging, embarrassing childhood stories. Like,
all right, Whopperhead.
It's Whopperneck, first off. Don't get my little sister's insult wrong. You're not allowed to say that. Shave. You need to go shave again. Seriously. Right. That dirty-ass mustache.
Wait. Is this, like... Is she still your little sister? Isn't she just your younger sister now?
That's why I was like... That's the dynamic. It's like, do I call her my little sister? She's
not your little sister anymore. She's a grown-ass woman and she got a kid.
But, like, I'm bigger than her and I whoop her ass in a fight. Like, she knows, like... It's almost like that your younger sibling is always your little. They're always your little. Almost like frats. Like, yeah, that's my big. That's my little.
Nah, it's not like that. That's different. Those are titles. Those are titles you choose.
The trauma bonding is kind of the same.
Nah, those are titles you choose. But you're giving that title out.
Like, so when do you stop calling your brother your little brother?
I guess the same time when I'm able to start using young man.
You don't say kid brother. Like, some people say
what age can you start saying young man?
Technically right now, but like...
Okay, so if you saw a bunch of 10-year-olds playing tag outside, you'd be like, hey, young man, come talk to me for a second.
Young blood,
no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You'd be like, hey, kid.
It's a cultural thing.
You'd be like, hey, kid. You'd be like, hey, baby's kid.
Hey, baby, what you doing on the corner? I'm selling crack. Okay.
I got kids to
I'm
feed.
selling weed. My bad. You said I'm selling weed. That was a different joke. That was a different, dirtier joke.
Woo, they don't even know how many layers that joke had.
Like, there's several. There's. I need to go to therapy for some of those layers, and I wasn't even the one involved. Bebe's kids, like, we really grew up way too early. Like, millennials, like, especially like if you're.
Is that the title of the show? All millennials 30? Are Bebe's kids.
Yeah,
the internet.
The fifth anniversary of millennial baby. I don't know. I'll come up with something.
But yeah, man, shout out to Connor for calling in. I know we've been trying to get him on for like the past month, but with COVID and the season and everything, it's just been crazy.
I was worried. I was like, don't get COVID. No, don't get COVID.
It was great to talk to him and check in with what's going on at the local level out here in Southern California.
I couldn't wait to talk about Bishop Sycamore with him. I couldn't wait.
And yeah, man, shout out to my homie Vince, because he was part of those layoffs with the prep reporters.
He did great work. A lot of
people
too.
I know. So
he did great work for high school football. I read a lot of his stuff, and he was always tweeting really good updates.
All right, so with that, I guess it's time to move to college football.
Since we're talking about recruiting and losses, where should I go first? What's more disrespectful? UCLA beating a whacked out, like LSU was the equivalent.
They lost.
LSU was the equivalent to stepped on dope.
You know they lost, right?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. I'm circling back around to that.
No, because like I had a full on conversation with the Chargers fan. And then, like, somewhere he was like, oh, yeah, but they won at least. I was like, you know they lost, right? He's like, they lost? I was like, bro, you didn't watch that last minute,
Fresno
did you?
State clapped them.
I was like, you didn't watch that last minute.
Fresno State can't beat USC.
My boy Wu was in the stadium. And he was like, dog, they literally ran the same exact plays as UCLA. He was like, they came back and ran the same plays.
Ronnie Rivers has been in college for a long time.
The same exact way as UCLA did.
Ronnie Rivers definitely took advantage.
And my return to that was, hey, it was a 6-hour tailgate. Game started at 6. Tailgate started at 1:45.
That's a lot of drinking.
And the game went to what? Almost 1? 12:30?
Overtime?
12?
Was it overtime?
No, it wasn't overtime, but it was just a lot of passing.
40-37. Ronnie Rivers.
So it went like to 12 years old. So I was like
12 years old.
He was like, yeah, he was all mad, but I was like, hey,
that's a great game.
But you made it from 1 p.m. to damn near midnight, all the way through. You stayed till the end, so you are the real MVP. If anything, you guys should get the game ball.
Yeah,
you guys were more impressive than that fourth quarter defensive collapse.
Doesn't UCLA did that against Washington State when like they dropped 70? It was like 74-70 UCLA Washington State a couple of years ago. Some dude threw 7 touchdowns. If I throw 7 touchdowns and lose again, I'm killing the defensive coordinator. I throw 7 touchdowns and lose, I'm doing horrible things to the defensive coordinator, especially the secondary coach. Because what were you doing? Both your safeties are stupid. None of your corners have common sense. But anyway, so yeah, they lost 40-37. So now Fresno State is ranked 22nd. Boise State lost to Oklahoma State at home, breaking their like 21-game home streak for I guess non-conference games or whatever. But it was a close game. They lost 21-20, and Boise State's defense definitely is real, but their offense is shaky. But Zach Charbonnet for UCLA, the Michigan transfer who went to, I think, Oaks Christian, I want to say, he's the real deal. Like, UCLA has, I feel like UCLA is going to drop 50 on USC, but, like, they're still going to lose. Which, by the way, I went to the tailgate website. You can't actually broker a spot tailgating for at least another month. I was like,
so it's like a first come, first serve.
No, it's
situation?
like they shut it down, and they said, okay, we're not doing anything until October 21st because it's like 2 months away. But I'm like, there's more COVID precautions coming for tailgates. That's why, like, they're gonna tighten the reins even more, which really sucks. But
as long as they don't do it by October 4th, I'm good. Or Black Friday.
Yeah, because I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be really pissed because I plan on being blacked out at a couple tailgates. So yeah,
you better have Black Friday off because I don't want to hear no excuses about that either. Because I told you about that like a year and a half in advance,
bro. I don't remember things sometimes. You have to tell me repeatedly.
You don't remember when your two favorite Mountain West teams play off 10 minutes from your house? Like, you don't remember that?
Boise State and San Diego State. It's in the morning, right?
Sounds right. I think it's a PM game. I think it's a night game.
That's dangerous, bro. That's dangerous. I might have alcohol. I might get my stomach pumped that day. Especially at that stadium in Carson. Do you know how much fun it is to be drunk in Carson at a football game?
I don't know. I feel like that could go in other ways. I feel like that could go a number of ways.
That's because
Carson's one of those areas where it's like you're either gonna have the best day of your life or the worst day of your life.
As long as you stay on the side closest to like the 130 bus path, you're good. Just don't go near Long Beach. Stay away from the those industrial district areas. Like stay near Cal State Dominguez Hills, you'll be alright. But yeah, so. Oh boy, this is why the PC3 should work, because look what Fresno State did. That was a primetime amazing game. On what, a Saturday night? Come on. Tell me Fresno State isn't a Pac-12 team right now. Tell me San Jose State isn't a Pac-12 team right now. Lower end, but
I've been seeing people wear San Jose shirts. That's crazy to me.
Because their colors are dope.
I was like, wow.
Bro, like I was telling my mom on the way over here, like Palo Alto likes to not consider itself the Bay Area because it's snooty, racist, and mad gentrify, even though Berkeley's right next to Palo Alto. But San Jose is right down the freeway. San Jose State is right down the freeway from Palo Alto. You can literally see Palo Alto from fucking San Jose State, from the Mercury, the new station. You can see it from the freeway. Like, Palo Alto has the audacity. That's why Stanford's not really that great this year. Ironically, I think Stanford is playing UCLA this week, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be some kind of a violent beating. But, yeah, so Kayvon Thibodeau, the Oregon star, former Narbonne. No, it wasn't at Narbonne. It was Dorsey, my bad. Former Dorsey star, but he was notably at Oaks Christian. He's probably going to be a top 5 pick this year. He didn't even play against Ohio State, and Oregon won. And this dude launched his own cryptocurrency to benefit his Dream Foundation for disadvantaged youth. So salute to Kayvon Thibodeau. He's making things happen over at Oregon with Phil Knight, and that's dope to have his own crypto. So Jackson Dart, after setting a record for like most passing yards in the debut and all that touchdowns, he got like 391. Washington State got up early 14-0 on USC, and I was like, oh, it's not looking good. Don't do this to me, Dante Williams. I pounded the table for the first black head coach in USC history. I need you to not get dog walked by Washington State. Please don't do this. Like, they run a gimmicky spread offense. You already know what they're going to do. Like, watch the mesh. The famous, infamous line that every sideline says, even when it's not even a mesh play. Why did we do that in high school? Why did we always yell, watch the mesh? It wasn't even a fucking mesh that play. It was a fucking inside zone handoff. There was no mesh. There was never a mesh, bro. Like, you could have just shot the gap. It's a zone play. They're not going to block you. That was the best thing about teams that zone plays and had their playbook was like the coach would be like, look, these are all the plays they're going to run. It's just gimmicky offense. Anybody can play guard and tackle in that offense and look good. This is what we're going to do, but they're mad efficient. Shout out to passing league champions who never won anything. But anyway, yeah, so Jackson Dart, he was a Gatorade National Player of the Year. He tore his meniscus against Washington State after Washington State got beat down 45-14. Keaton Slovis got hurt. Seeing like all these QBs at USC just have all this success in this gimmicky Graham Harrell wide open offense, it's like, man, I miss tailback you. I miss power. I miss just getting 4 yards on a power play.
Hey, So
They don't run the ball anymore. It's sad.
real quick, I got a question for you. Is Deion going to coach USC?
I was trying to avoid that.
Why is everyone talking about that so much? Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose? And didn't he already shoot it down? And didn't he just shoot it down?
Yeah. The same way other coaches are. Like Eric Bieniemy's like, I don't even know where that USC rumor came from. Why would
So basically, nobody wants the USC job.
Nobody black wants a USC job.
Ooh.
You can hit a button, something. Hit one of Clue's bombs. I'll take that. But yeah, in regards to... Okay, so in regards to the top games this weekend in college football, shout out to Lane Kiffin. 13th ranked Ole Miss is going up against number 1 ranked Alabama.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I'm going to need you to stop now. I know you like Lane Kiffin, but stop. You're a child. You're a baby.
Why is that a child? That's my favorite sound.
I know. You go to that one, you're like, oh, I want to laugh. Kool-Aid Man.
That's not Kool-Aid Man. That's McLovin.
That's not McLovin. That was the Kool-Aid Man.
That's not the Kool-Aid Man.
Play it again. That's the Kool-Aid Man.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
That voice is the Kool-Aid Man. I know that's McLovin, the Superbad line, but that's the Kool-Aid Man. Imagine that voice saying, oh, yeah.
We have that sound. That's not the same.
It's pretty damn close. But, yeah, so Lane Kiffin.
Different.
It's kind of close. The pitch and octave is kind of close. But anyway, so Lane Kiffin's like...
I know you didn't just group of fat people together. I know you didn't just do that.
I mean, technically, not everybody who sounds like that is fat. So you're fat shaming and you're body shaming. So ignorant. But anyway.
I mean, you did it, but I guess I connected those dots, so then I guess I did it too, but yeah.
I put together the
You're not right. You're not wrong.
You're going to get the blame, though. Like,
I
just put together the nerve.
You just reverse engineered it.
Exactly.
To get back to me.
You just put a name on it. Like, I just made like a thing and you called it a dog. But anyway, so Lane Kiffin, with his great quotes, was like, as I said earlier in the show, Alabama gets to cherry pick their best. Like, they literally got an Ohio State receiver in the transfer portal, former 5-star receiver, and Henry. I'm not going to try to say his last name. There's too many O's. But he transferred from Tennessee, and he was like the best player on Tennessee's team. And now he's looking like All-American at Alabama. So, pretty much he's like, they get to cherry pick the best players all the time. Like, they have edge. This is probably one of the best defenses.
So, like all the NFL teams?
Don't get me started.
That was an Urban Meyer day.
I was about to say, yeah. Slow it down. I just dissed you. Because, again, when Urban Meyer gets fired and he ruins Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to just tell y'all, I told you it was going to happen before it happened.
What?
Oh, wrong one.
That was actually funny.
That's the one I wanted to
that was actually worth it. But, yeah, so he's like, he always has a good quote. And, Nick Saban is like 37-0 against all his former assistants. He's never lost to his assistant. But Lane Kiffin...
yeah, I'm in my pocket now, huh?
Yeah. You're warming up. You're heating up. I thought you were going to play the Greg Jennings, put the team on his back. But, you're heating up.
Dang, that's just like 10 years old. That's crazy.
That shit is more than 10 years old.
I know.
We are old. That's how old that is. Like,
that's like when
kids
stuff
went
viral on Facebook first. Like, how long ago was that? Like,
why did you just make me feel really bad about my age? Bro, we're only 29.
Bro.
We're only 29 and we're washed. God, this is not fair. I didn't expect this for our lives. But, yeah, so...
Well, we've eaten a lot of food.
We've seen a lot of shit. We've done a lot of shit. But, like, Lane Kiffin...
This is what always happens when you don't do the college football spot on the rundown.
No, like, he went so far in his press conference just
like you going so far into college football right now.
I did it, but it's just honestly, like, this Lane Kiffin thing, if they beat Alabama, which I think they're going to upset them this week. Matt Corral had 4...
You better put $1,000 on it.
Nah, chill.
You ain't that incompetent.
I'm not betting my money on college
What's the
football.
odds? What's the odds?
Like Mark, it's not good. Like Mark Bland said, this is why I don't bet on college for college football. Imagine if you had bet on the Fresno State UCLA game. You would have bet on UCLA.
I don't bet on the NFL either because that's just rigged.
We're just gonna put a pin in that one. But yeah, with college football, all these. The funniest thing about this week is that the SEC wins again. Because Arkansas is ranked. They're like 13th. No, they're not 13th. They're like highly ranked in the country. And they were projected to go like 0-8. They already beat Texas. They're already 4-0. They play Georgia pretty soon. And Georgia's ranked second. Arkansas could upset Georgia. Like, nobody saw this from Sam Pittman at Arkansas. So really, the SEC is driving the discussion for the best teams in the country yet again. And the Pac-12 just finds a way to just implode. Watch Oregon lose to, like, Arizona or some shit. But, yeah. So, boy. Oh, yeah, another interesting situation that happened. So, suits against OSU, Ohio State University, regarding alleged Richard Strauss abuse, they were dismissed by the judge. 126 plaintiffs are going to appeal it. 126 people are appealing the abuse case. But the lawsuits dismissed. Federal judge Michael H. Watson dismissed the lawsuit against Ohio State and how it handled sexual abuse. Well, the former doctor, Richard Strauss, he died in 2005. So I don't know how much more. I don't know what they would get necessarily in terms of like how do you make somebody whole after that? Like the dude died in 2006, and 126 plaintiffs. They can't all be lying, but the case got thrown out, dismissed, and they're all appealing. So yeah, sometimes the worst and most dangerous place for a kid, for a child or a young person is on a college campus because professors and administrators be mad nasty. So protect your kids out there. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. So with that, I guess we can move to...
Oh, shit, wait. Something dope happened. A good story. So Portland State's head coach bought $14,000 worth of beer for fans. That's it. That's the tweet. That's it. I know there's something I wanted to mention.
He just found one story that he could throw in there that he knew that I wouldn't get mad about him sharing.
I was like, there are certain schools that are finally allowed.
Oh yeah,
people.
filibuster's over. Nope.
Nah, it's not a filibuster.
Nope.
I was gonna talk about that, but I was just like, damn, Portland State. Like, sometimes it might just be better to go to those D2 schools, like who are like in the Big Sky Conference, because one of those days those coaches might do something really dope, like drop $14,000 and buy all the students beer. You know how drunk I would get on that man's dime?
All right, so with that, let's go ahead and move the touchdown and turnover. All right, first up, the NFL says that the taunting rules are working exactly how they're intended, and they will keep them. So, touchdown or turnover, taunting rules are here to stay.
It's a turnover. The only thing more disrespectful than how they officiate those taunting penalties is my nephew constantly slapping my face and throwing my glasses on the floor. And then when he shit on my leg today, like, that was incredibly disrespectful.
It's all right. I just called Vanessa up here so I could taunt her for the Steelers taking that L.
Oh, my God.
Taking that L.
Yo, I owe him a sandwich.
Oh, you bet this man food? You never bet Pete food.
No. I asked him, I was like, what do you want to bet? He said, a lunch. I said, what type of lunch? He said, a sandwich.
I said wings at first, but I was like, she gets wings for free, so that's technically cheating. So I was like, all right, what else?
Just bring him some wings and pieces of bread and say, fuck you.
Wow.
boneless wings,
Tyson
bread.
wings, and a day-old bolio from Superior. Like, here's your sandwich.
Some bread that had way too much butter when they put it through the butter machine, so it's toasted and it's oily.
All right, so
Worst.
RG3 basically threw up a future meme saying like, "Hey, I heard you guys don't have a quarterback," and got me thinking about all those times when I was a quarterback and took you guys to the playoffs. You don't have to reply, but just know that I'm here. So, touchdown or turnover, RG3 considering going back to the WTFs.
They should really consider it. He runs a 4-3-1, right?
Allegedly.
They have nobody
Says he's still
else.
in shape.
They have nobody else at quarterback, bro, and he could actually play. That's what
I mean,
I'm saying.
Tyler Hinkey was all right.
I want
Tyler Hinkey was all right.
No, he wasn't.
He was
What
all
did you
right.
just say his name?
Tyler Heineke?
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Well, he started off slow, but he was playing against Daniel Dimes.
Bro, look me in the face and tell me you actually believe in him as a franchise quarterback.
Definitely not, but
Will he get you
not
to a Super
trash.
Bowl?
He's not trash. He's not trash.
Ryan Fitzpatrick was a career backup. That is the definition of being trash.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is not trash. You are the first person to say Ryan Fitzpatrick is not trash.
Okay.
You buy yourself some Fitzmagic hype.
Let's just break this down. You're missing my point. If I took his name and the fact that I like that person out of it, someone who's a career backup goes to place to place to place, plays 2 or 3 good games, then is mediocre to terrible the rest of the time. So the only good thing they do is get you draft position.
I'm telling you, he is slightly better than that.
So McCown, was Josh McCown a good quarterback?
He was an okay quarterback, a C- quarterback.
Sure. We can look at the stats, how many picks and interceptions he threw. And
He was on some bad teams though too, like some historically bad teams.
Don't care. I don't care.
I just don't know why you're trying to drag Tyler Heineke, who's in a bad situation and not being horrible.
You're attaching. You have more excitement for Tyler Heineke than you do Derek Carr. Let that sink in. How many times has Derek Carr been called a bum?
I wouldn't say
Tyler
that.
Heineke isn't half the quarterback Derek Carr is. And Tua just got hurt and busted his ribs up, so he's not playing this week. So if you got Raiders to start on offense like I do, start them. But Josh Jacobs is hurt, so I got Waller. But let's really break that down. Like any other court, like imagine RG3 in.
All right, we don't have time to do this. We took up too much time. We don't have time to get this much into each one.
I'm just saying it would be perfect if they got him, but he's not a good. He's a backup QB who ain't good. There's a reason why he ain't starting nowhere else. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, how long has he been in the league?
Heineke?
Yeah, I don't think he's been in the league that long.
Bro, this will be his last stop.
All right, well. Next up, we got Josh Sweat, 3 years, $40 million from the Eagles extension.
Former Florida State. And Brandon,
they're saying that basically all the other pass rushers are pretty much on notice now. They could get traded.
And what's Brandon Graham, right?
Yeah.
He ruptured his Achilles, so he's done for this season. And Josh Sweat, who was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school, went to Florida State, ran a 4.5 at the combine, scouted him, and the Raiders passed on him. And what do you know? 3 years, $40 million.
All right, next up, 49ers work out Duke Johnson and Lamar Miller. They've had a number of injuries on the running back field. Touchdown or turnover.
Honestly, it's a turnover, bro. Whoever they get, they're just cursed. Like that team is cursed to have injuries.
And those guys were already cursed to be at the Texans, and now they're going to be doubly cursed. Back onto that Niners running room.
It's a zone read offense. They'll be fine.
Jamie
get 10 carries and then get hurt.
Jamie Collins is being held out from the Lions amid trade rumors, touchdown or turnover.
He should just put out a meme. How come don't nobody want me, man? Everywhere he goes, they want to get rid of him.
So what happens when you're a inside linebacker?
Outside linebacker, he can cover.
Yeah, but he's more of an inside guy.
He played safety, defensive end. He's a coverage guy.
But you want him in the middle of the field because he has that certain range.
I want him on the sideline. In the flats. Like,
oh, I thought you want him on the bench.
I mean,
if my team's good, yeah.
If I'm gonna
he's
use
a
him
good
as trade
fourth
bait,
linebacker.
If I'm gonna use him as trade bait, he's a great nickel linebacker or blitzer.
All right, and Pete Carroll throws Russell Wilson under the bus. I don't know what that one was.
Oh yeah,
touchdown and turnover.
The biggest turnover ever. This will be like if he threw Reggie Bush and Lindell White under the bus after the Texas game, when he should have thrown Matt Lyon under the bus for throwing fucking floaters. He said, because Russ went 0 for 2 and had a sack in overtime against the Titans, which, by the way, shout out to my fantasy team. I'm undefeated in all 3 of my leagues. Derrick Henry won the day for me, and Tyler Lockett, and Russell Wilson. But he played bad that overtime series, 0 for 2 and a sack. And he's like, Pete Carroll's like, you got to help us out there. Like, you gotta do more for us there. And I was like, where have you been like the past 5 years? That's what he's been doing. DK Metcalf was hurt, I guess, so it wasn't much happening there. Like, the only time the offense really stalled was in overtime. They were putting up points all day. The defense is the one you should be talking to everybody but Bobby Wagner, who had over 20 tackles. Like, how are you sitting up here blaming Russell Wilson for an overtime loss when Derrick Henry was shut down and then proceeded to have 60-yard touchdown runs that run in on the goal line to get his 3rd touchdown? Like, they bullied you and you lost, and you blame Russell Wilson? This is Pete Carroll's last year in Seattle. It's done, bro. It's over.
That's a hot take. Didn't he just get an extension?
He Judased him. 2
years ago?
He Judased him. Contracts are meant to be broken. He pulled a Judas on that man.
I think that team is just done. He's probably out of there.
He's out of there. That team probably has like 2 more seasons.
Well,
Bobby Wagner,
that's perfect for Pete Carroll's timeline.
Pete's done.
He's always out either 2 years too early.
You outed your franchise quarterback, bro.
He's always out 2 years too early. He ducked a Patriots Super Bowl, which would have been good, and then he also ducked the death penalty.
He would have had a
2 years too early, so
USC would have won a national title had he stayed. But,
premature beat.
Wow.
All right,
that's hilarious.
Let's get through. Can we get through Take Your Tangent fast?
Yes.
All right. Anonymous executive says Lamar Jackson is
Bill
not
Napoleon?
a franchise guy. That is a motherfucking turnover worthy of its own fucking tangent segment, whatever you want to call it, because I'm getting tired of talking about this shit. How the fuck do you seriously watch football and say, you know what I'm going to do today, folks? I'm going to hate on Lamar Jackson.
Because you secretly don't like black people. I'm just calling it out. Like, at this point, if you're still critiquing him, you just don't like black dudes playing quarterback.
Honestly, I don't even know if it's that. I think it's just
you hate him on a
you just hate him on a personal level, bro.
That is like my dismissal of Tony Banks every time Pete brings up Tony Banks.
Worse than that.
And I don't even hate Tony Banks. Like,
worse than that. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Like, bro, the reason you hate him for
they
is
beat
rooted
the
in
Chiefs.
racism. They
beat the Chiefs on Sunday night. Pat Mahomes. What more do you want?
Because the Ravens run the ball.
They lost to the Raiders on a fluke, basically, damn near.
And all their DBs and
in OT
got hurt.
And they're dealing with injuries. Lamar, this is his first year having like semi-competent weapons.
at receiver in there.
And now he doesn't have running backs.
And they're not throwing the ball enough because they don't want to risk him getting injured because he's more likely to get injured on a drop back than he is running and going Barry Sanders on people. Honestly, if you don't like Lamar Jackson at this point, your hate is rooted in racism. Because you see him and you dislike the image that is him. You dislike the way he talks, probably. You dislike the way he throws, even though all the metrics and numbers and film shows he can throw. It's just the system he's in isn't pushing him forward like, let's say, when the Packers had Aaron Rodgers, and that system pushed him forward to be better. Because, he had Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson.
Not even that. He never even had
Jermichael
that.
Finley. It's wild to me. The hate for Lamar is real and unnecessary.
That's much funnier, though.
I want to know now.
She put Thursdays, but she put an I, so it looks like Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah, like Thursday.
Hey, it's lit. I mean, it's lit.
Yeah, you gotta put my own style.
There you go. You got to put that on a Canva business card.
All right. Rodgers says Aaron Rodgers also pretty much went at the haters this week. He said,
Please tell me why you always hating. Shout out to Kamaya.
Oh, man. Hey.
he basically said,
How you going to hate from outside the club when you can't even get in? Shout out to Chris Brown.
yeah, but essentially he said, how do these people have a platform that were basically dog shitting me, saying that I quit on the team, that I don't care, that I have no more game, that I washed, that I didn't practice all off season, that I don't care. He was like, how do these guys have a platform? So you got to take her tangent on Aaron Rodgers.
He's right. There's way too many illegitimate ass people with stupid opinions who have access. Say it again. I didn't even hear that. Nah.
Barber chair.
Wait, I think that's the wrong one.
No, I said Barstool first, but I was trying to not say Barstool again.
I was like, no, fuck that. Just say Barstool. If I'm going to shoot at you, I'm going to shoot you right between the eyes so you see me coming. And I'm going to tell you I did it to you. That's just me, personally. I don't have time to shoot from around the corner and pew. Just say it. There's a lot of
you shoot through walls a lot. I've seen you shoot around corners. You shot around corners before.
But nobody knew it except you, so shut up. The person who got hit knows they got hit, but they're never going to come out and say anything to me because guess what? Then you prove everything that I said about you was right. Bitch. No, I'm just playing.
Next up,
I'm not, though.
Raiders kicker Daniel Carlson lost his fantasy game this past week.
To himself.
Because his real life self was on the opposing team. He hit the game-winning field goal. So, take your tangent on Carlson losing to himself.
If it's a paid league, he's sick right now. But if it's not, shit, that's a contract instead of...
Well, I don't even think they're allowed to pay for money. I think they're technically not allowed to play fantasy for money.
There's actually something going on with Patrick Kane. He's being held out in the NHL because he may have bet on a Sharks game.
Here we go.
You know, hockey gets away with all types of illegal shit because nobody cares about hockey in this country on the West Coast. There, I said it.
The gamblers care about that. People are going to care. People are going to get mad.
Drug dealers care about drugs.
People are going to get mad.
Hoes care about hoes.
People are going to get mad. It's just going to be
fat
one
people
reason
care about food.
To set gambling back.
Everybody cares about shit that they make money on, but nobody cares about everything you make money on. Nobody cares about hockey on the West Coast that isn't making money off of it or actually playing it.
Hockey's dope. I care about hockey.
Of course it's dope. And when was the last hockey game you've been to or watched?
Before the pandemic, I went in December, so like 2 months before.
Okay, but before
the year before, I tried to go to at least one Kings game a year.
What's your favorite team?
I'm a Ducks fan.
Are you sure you're not a San Jose Sharks fan? I feel like you're a San Jose Sharks fan and you're lying to me.
I'm a Kraken fan.
You're definitely a Giants fan.
I'm a Kraken fan.
Okay.
Do you even know where that team is? That's how much you follow it. That's how much you follow NHL.
It's a made-up fucking team, bro.
No, it's an expansion team.
Where? On the East Coast?
In Seattle.
What? The
Are you
Seattle
serious?
Kraken?
We talked about that on this show.
There's not a Seattle
we've talked-
hockey team called the Krakens,
Bet.
bro.
What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet?
Drinks?
Okay.
Ice cream shake? I don't fucking
Google
know.
it. Google it.
I don't believe something that stupid
Google
exists.
it. We talked about it on the show. You thought it was a touchdown. Are you serious? It was literally a touchdown or
I
turnover.
must have been
You said it was
drunk
a
or
touchdown.
tired, but I don't believe.
Seattle what?
See? Is it?
Seattle what?
Kraken.
Krakens.
K-R-A.
You about to get your phone spammed with
K-E-N.
all types of viruses typing that shit.
All right.
Ironically, in Washington, all drugs are legal now.
Yep.
They're decriminalized.
I told you. You owe me drinks.
I said ice cream.
Drinks.
You said drinks.
Ice cream. I said ice cream. You can go back and play it. I said
All right.
drinks and ice
Whatever.
cream.
Last one. Richard Sherman basically said
Speaking of crack,
his reputation speaks for itself.
joking.
You know, he said that he shouldn't be judged and kicked out the league off one bad day,
He shouldn't.
one bad situation.
We've all wanted to beat up our father-in-laws or something-in-laws. I want to beat up a couple people in my family. Straight up, on their birthday, in front of everybody. But I'm not going to do it because...
Robinson?
Who?
You'll get it.
You about to say Greg Robinson? Was that a Greg Robinson joke?
You'll get it. I'll
No.
tell you after.
Craig Robinson?
I'll tell you later.
Damn it. What does that
You're getting
mean?
warmer. You're getting warmer.
What does it mean?
All right. So now it's time for the rants.
I really don't know what that means, bro.
Mama Barry, do you want to step to the mic first?
Mom. Mother dearest.
Mama Bear in the house.
Why don't you just scoot over and just let her sit there? Yeah. There you go.
She wants the seat untouched by me. You can definitely take the mask off if you want.
All right, Miss Barry. 5 years in, what do you got to say to us?
Message.
You always calling on anniversaries. Now you're here.
I am so proud of you and Kenneth. It's been a long, hard road, but you guys stuck to it and you've come a long way. I admire you, Pete, for being stuck with Kenneth every Thursday night. Have to listen to his jokes.
I'm a wonderful person.
every week.
I'm a child of God.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
I'm a mama's son.
Anyway, I'm very proud of you guys. I came tonight just to show support for you two. To let you both know that I love you very much.
Love you too. Thank you.
I'm getting kind of sentimental, but yeah, I'm here just to show support, to let you guys know I'm proud of you guys. Not only just the radio show, but just everything you're doing in your lives. Son, I'm not even gonna roast you.
Damn.
Wait, I feel like that's an embarrassing story.
But there is one embarrassing story that I would tell, that I am going to tell.
Is it the titty in church one?
Yes.
She told that one. I think she told that one like 200.
Because that lady's dead now.
Damn.
Well, she might be.
R.I.P.
I don't know. But when
I
Kenneth
definitely
was
broke up a marriage.
little,
I was like 3.
Kenneth was little. I don't know how to say it. He was different. He was not like a regular child. Like you take him somewhere and most kids would just sit there and mind their own business and not really say nothing. Kenneth was just, especially taking him to church, he was just always doing something. He would see the ladies get up, shout in church. And one day this lady was shouting in church and he just pulled her wig off. And he ran around the church with her wig. He was always into something. He was always doing something. Could never take him anywhere, but he's come a long way. You know, he's come a long way. So basically, I love you, son. I love you, Pete, and I'm very proud of you guys. So
All right.
Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
And tell me why Isaiah is so violent. Like, he really ripped my glasses off my
I
face
don't
today.
know. Kenneth,
And he shit on my leg.
Kenneth came in the house today. He said something to him. He just took his hand and just ripped Kenneth's glasses off. He knows Kenneth's
Sounds like
leave.
sometimes when I come in here and when Kenny's not having a good day.
Yeah, he knows when Kenneth
I'm a
leaves
child of God. I
at
don't know what
night.
you're talking about.
And he knows Kenneth's come back home. So I don't know why he had an attitude at Kenneth today, but he was really mad at
'Cause
Kenneth
he
today.
like-
Like a real light skin. It's cool.
Because I sent him my mental vibes, and he was like, "You don't
Yeah.
work on Thursdays." He's like, "Why are you out on Thursdays?"
He didn't care for Kenneth today.
Why were you gone today?
He said, "Pete sent you 3 texts this morning. You didn't answer."
I was
I'm gonna start just texting Zay, bro. Start hitting him on the baby monitor. Hey, get your uncle. Hey, get your uncle.
hey, for real though, like we really watch NFL because my sister has class, so like we just watch NFL.
Oh
like,
yeah,
live.
Kenham has him stuck
NFL
on
Network.
football. They sit through.
He's
and
probably
watch
gonna be a
football.
Raiders fan. I hate to say it.
Yeah, he probably is.
Rams fan. He's definitely.
You know,
He didn't
Kids
care
are
for the
free
Cowboys
until
too
3.
much.
he's whatever fan we need to be to get him in the game.
they're free until 3. All right.
As long as he's not a Cowboys fan, I'll rebuke
No,
that.
he
agree with
didn't
that.
care for the Cowboys
I'll
the other
rebuke
day.
I'll agree with that.
No San Jose teams either. San Jose State's the only team, and even then. But thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
All right.
There are times when we were doing the show and I needed bus fare to get to work, and you hooked it up.
Always, son.
There's times where I was working 3 jobs and come in here and you put some, you're like, I packed you a lunch. And then there's also times where you made plenty of fat jokes when I was a child that strengthened me and made me the man I am today. So I thank you. Pete thanks you.
Oh, you're welcome. I loved you both.
All the hood Chinese spots in Hawthorne thank us.
We wouldn't be here without the people that sacrifice and share us, and wouldn't be here without the people who've come along for the ride, whether as guests or interns or friends. So,
And yeah, anything you want to say regarding Oakland or just anything? One last thing.
Shout out to the Bay Area. I'm taking the baby home, and for Thanksgiving, so my mom could see him. She hasn't seen him. They FaceTime every day.
that's great.
I miss home,
Good
but
grandbaby.
yeah, I'm still trying to get used to the fact that I'm a grandmother. And Kenneth, can you please stop saying your baby sister like Pete said? She is
said
grown
little
and
sister.
she has a child.
She little.
She is not
Younger.
a baby.
She's
She's
little
not a
until
baby.
she can tell me her credit score. She my little sister.
She's not a baby. She's the mother now. So thank you guys
still
for
a rat.
having me here. I really appreciate it, and I love you both.
All right.
Thank
Thank
Mom.
you.
Thank you.
So, Miss Nessa Swartz, you have anything you want to say to the people? Leave them with?
Blessed to be here. Good to be alive.
Don't fall. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
I also tripped people in church when I was a baby. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to hell. It's okay. Oh, she said you are. That's fucked up.
That's all you got? You ain't got nothing else to say?
I'm speechless today. I don't know what's going on.
Shout out your school. Shout out what you're
Okay.
doing. Rep your set.
I'm a toughie tight end from Cal State Fullerton.
Wait, hold on. Is that you play
Please
tight
don't
end?
ever say that
Please
again.
never say that here.
Don't ever say that again.
I think we made a
You said
mistake.
I'm a toughy Titan. Wow.
I thought you said toughy tight end like you played powder puff and they put you at tight end and you were a mismatch. I can
We
believe
need a
it, though.
CSUN intern, man. Why we have a Long Beach and a Fullerton intern? Never had a Northridge intern. That's weird. You gonna get a Cal State LA intern next?
No, we're gonna get a
Dominguez Hills.
we gonna get a Stanislaus. What's it, Stanislaus State?
Wow.
We're gonna get a San Francisco State intern. But nah, for real. Salute to you. This isn't easy coming out here, donating your time, learning, seeing how things work. So, salute to you, especially for somebody who's as young as you are and the work ethic you have. It's going to take you a long way. So, remember us when we get old and we're washed uncles and fathers.
Thank you.
Mostly him. He's definitely a washed father.
All right. Well, Gave you opportunity. You didn't want to. You didn't want to defend your Steelers. It's okay.
There's nothing to defend.
Literally, they
cry.
couldn't defend.
Use that towel. Cry.
They couldn't defend.
Save your tears for another day. Who are they playing this week? Don't even matter. Ben is a statue. I got more elasticity in my left knee than Ben does in his whole body. He get hit one more time.
Did you see that social meme I sent you where it was like they got these two white Steeler fans to I forgot what they said. They were basically like buck the Steelers in Spanish. But the Raider fans were like, repeat after me. Blah, blah, blah. And then they said it and they're all in Steeler jerseys and they're like, what did we say? And the Raiders fans are just laughing.
It's worse than when that Jets kid was diagnosing TikTok. He was diagnosing the Jets play on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
This little kid. I was like, oh my God, he's a fucking genius. And the Jets are terrible.
All right. So for my part, I'll just say it's really crazy to think about it on 5 years. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, we really just started this podcast off the quote-unquote good old college try, even though neither of us were in college at the moment when we started it. Well, Kenny was technically in college, but he was figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I just graduated, so we were both just in a transitional period. And essentially, we were just like, well, why not? We were already doing this before for student media. And at the time, which I just spoke to a class, and we were talking about how now sports intersects with politics and culture, and you can talk about all these different things as a sports reporter and stuff. But even 5 years ago, that beat didn't exist. Like, it was still taboo to talk about race in sports and all these different things. And we just looked at the NFL podcasting sphere, like, and was like, it's not diverse. Frankly, you guys could do better. You guys have all these resources, and we were doing better shows off of iMac and 4 mics in a classroom.
In a hot podcast closet.
So we started doing it on our phone. Started doing it on an app that was for DJs. Moved over to Speaker. Moved over to the Good News. Moved to Good News 2. And now here we are 5 years later. Now we're on YouTube. We're on all these platforms. We have affiliates. We have alumni. We have interns. You know, we have an archive. We've done things. But I think, like, and I was speaking to a class this week at CSUN, an entrepreneurship class that I took, and they were just kind of asking me, like, why did you start a podcast? And pretty much just told them what I said right now. But I think the message that you should take, anybody who listen to this, anybody who's been a part of this show, is like, why not go for your dreams? Why not build the change you want to see? And it might sound corny, but it's like, you'll never know until you try. And the reality is, you know, we're still yet to like really make money from the podcast or anything like that. You know, we've gotten people who have thrown us $5 and stuff like that, so you can do that on the website or PayPal, of course. Like, we have some Google ads, but we don't really make money. So if financials is the meter of success, I think that's wrong, because like the time that we spent, the opportunities we've created for ourselves and other people, like, that stuff is priceless. That's stuff that we never even would have imagined. Like, we never would have imagined being here in this metaverse, like sitting here on live on YouTube and Speaker in a studio 5 minutes from our house. Like, so it's crazy. You never know where life will take you. And as life has even taken us even farther and in different weirder places since and during this podcast, it's like, you don't know where we're going because you really can't imagine where we've been. That's all.
That's it's hard to follow, but very true. Normally I'm like super goofy, but I'm gonna actually be serious right now. It's funny, like, I was thinking about this podcast when I decided when I was at the Angels game and I got free tickets for my job. And shout out to Sarah and Raul. We're actually going to Boston. We literally just decided at the game, hey, you know what? Like, fuck the Red Sox. Raul just likes to hate on the Yankees. And he's just anti-Angels. So he's like, I'll just root for the Red Sox just because. And then someone was like, you know, hey, let's just go to Boston. Like, no, like, let's really go to Boston. They play in, like, September. We can go catch a Red Sox-Yankees game at Fenway Park. Like, you're not down. I'm like, I'm down as fuck. Like, I have the money right now. We can do this. And then we decided, all right, let's give it 6 weeks. We'll get our money together, get our bills and stuff paid, set some money set aside like adults. Like, we actually, like, made an adult move. Like, oh, damn, we saved some money, put it away, you know, didn't fuck it off. And now we're all going to Boston for, like, 2 days, technically. And I'm the first one in the group chat to actually go to Boston, and I'll be visiting Drew. So that's a win. And Andrew said some really profound shit to me this past week that really sunk in, that people like Pete have been saying for a long time too, just in a more futuristic kind of way. Like, he'll say some shit, and then 6 months later it happened, and I'm like, well, he was on to something. My mom was the same way too. She'll tell me some shit, and I'll just be like, what? She's like, just remember it, write it down. And I think about this podcast and what I helped create it out of the place I was in my life, where I wasn't in school and I was in between jobs and I was working a job just to kind of slave through it and pay my way just to get back into school. And I always worked a different job for a different reason. And now I'm in a space where I know I'm working really just because, well, we all have to work and we all need universal survival tickets. So we need money and shit. Like, things cost. As Keith Good News would say, shit costs. So, like, the fact that, you know, we need money to fund things, but when me and Pete were broke as fuck at CSUN recording podcast episodes on Thanksgiving because we're in the dorms and I'm like, well, fuck iPad. Everybody else is asleep. Nobody else is working. Why don't we work? We're already gonna work. We're already gonna waste our life away working. Like, you might as well do something you enjoy and you love that comes from the heart, comes from a creativity that God gave you. So you might as well utilize that shit. And I've been guilty of not always doing that, whether it was via depression or just going through my shit. I'm a water sign, forgive me. Like, sometimes when I'm not, I don't want to say reinventing myself, but when I'm progressing as a person, sometimes the thing that is like my biggest talent, I don't use it because I feel like it's almost like if Superman like flew everywhere full speed and never actually developed his hand, so he just got waxed by fucking Wonder Woman every time they fought. Like, I would always see like my greatest gifts as a curse to get me to the next level, and that's not always the case. Like, honestly, with this broadcast, I should say, like, I had a vision for how I wanted things to be, and so did Pete, and we both kind of agreed, like, okay, I want all this to happen. Okay, well, here's some structure. Because you need some structure for this shit to happen. Like, you can't just throw this out there. It'll, like, it's almost like a baby. You can't just have a baby out
and
there.
That's probably been our biggest weakness, is that we're both similar in that sense. Like, we're both, like, ideas more than, like, the execution.
We like the execution, but, like, we're just like, fuck it, we'll just figure it out. Like, I remember the tailgate we did. We did a lot of, like, prep for that tailgate. But then once we got down to, like, what we're going to talk about, like, we had to run down. We knew what we were going to talk about. We're like, all right, fuck it, bro. We got food. We're social. We've been in college. It's a USC game. We're giving out ring pops, for Christ's fucking sake. And we're getting drunk. Your girlfriend made mimosas, which were amazing, by the way. And there was food. And that shit worked out. Like, that was, like, an amazing tailgate. How many podcasters are doing? I mean, a lot of these podcasters that we see, like, a lot of them are already backed privately. They got their little shit going on, and I feel like touchdowns and tangents is like one of the most authentic things around. Like you can get two people to talk football, but you can't get two people like us to talk football and life and blend that shit into what we talk about. Like our titles, like all the titles for this podcast, all 246 of them.
Only real ones in the building.
Like you really would have to, like we could break down historical shit that happened at the time that title was made. Like I think of Ain't No Lemon Pepper and God's Plan. When Drake albums dropped, like the shit that we were talking about before the show that never got recorded, like that's better than some of the shit we've recorded. Like straight up facts, not even joking. I'm talking about 3 hours talking shit in a fucking parking lot by Joe's Crab Shack or outside of Wong's Walk, or literally sitting in the parking lot outside of my apartment trying to figure shit out. Like, yo, we want to do this, but we have no idea how we're going to get there.
Deadass, we've forgotten more podcast. We've forgotten better podcasts than a lot of podcasters out there.
And it's like
literally, we have unreleased content that's going to be worth some millions of dollars if anyone can ever figure out how to decode that Taylor Rooks interview.
Dog, why are you going to make me cry, bro? That was one of the best interviews we did. Harold's Chicken. We're just gonna have to go to Chicago and get Harold's Chicken and then just add Taylor Rooks.
But that's what's really crazy is like, dude, like when you really think about it, like,
we did some impossible shit.
But besides that, like when you really
impossible.
think about the range of people that we've had on the show, like we've had a
multiverse of people.
Top talent like Taylor Rooks and Nick Hamilton.
We had NFL coaches on.
We've had NFL coaches. We've had XFL players, we've had college players, we've
JUCO
had NFL
All-Americans.
players, we've had JUCO players,
high school champions,
high school coaches, we've had D1 athletes, D2 athletes, CFL athletes,
entrepreneurs,
D3 athletes, entrepreneurs, teachers,
activists.
We
were like one of the only people really talking about shit that was cracking while shit was cracking in LA when they were shutting shit down, and I was working in Santa Monica. And they put the city on curfew at 2:00, and I had to leave.
I forgot about that. We had a whole Black Lives Matter special,
bro. I had
2-hour telecast.
Like people who were on the ground.
We had a dead ass telecast. That was crazy.
We were literally telling people like, "Yo, this is what's happening in LA." Like, so when people say, "Oh, you're just a sports podcast,"
we had people from the IE too calling. That's what happened in the IE.
All over. But I'm saying when people say, "Oh, you're just a sports podcast," like you don't really listen to us, so you're not really our audience, and we don't really care if you fucking listen to us. Like touchdowns and tangents is dope. Like this is some shit that was built from a black dude and a Mexican dude.
A lot of podcasts can talk about football, but not in the way that we do.
And like with our cultural background, like when I say culturally concise commentary, when I was coming up with some of these taglines, when we were high in your room playing Madden and you were cheating because you gave me the broken fucking controller and you little brothered me. Yeah, nigga, don't act like you don't have a broken controller at your house right now. You don't charge that other controller for Madden, and you can't defend the seam. So that's why.
In my defense, my brothers always take my batteries, break my controller, and then switch them. So there you go.
Nigga, you rage quit when you play Madden. You realize
I haven't done that in like 5 years. I haven't done that since college.
You're lying, bro. You literally rage quit it because you couldn't beat the Giants in the Super Bowl. And I was like, why don't you just draft a bunch of fast free agent linebackers like Ty Summers? Why don't you just make him an outside linebacker so you actually have fast linebackers?
But I don't rage quit. I just quit.
Yeah, I still don't understand. Like, didn't you say there was like a gold? There was like a 99 overall Jake Delhomme or some shit, and he was never 99 overall?
Yeah, there's a bunch of players like that.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Anyways, so can we wrap it up?
Yeah, this podcast is like nothing you've ever heard because we talk about real life shit that probably conversations you don't have at your family table. But, you know, you come on here and anybody we talk to, we try to make them feel like family. We try to make them feel welcome. And we get people to open up and we share things. And it is culturally concise content because, I mean, we talked about gentrification. Look at all the things we touched on in the interview with Connor. Like, we are thankful for everyone who rocks with us, who has been there with us. We're still going to keep going. This show is a labor of love. It's like a baby. It's like my child. I can't abandon it. And
hey, sidebar. So are you going to keep like low-key coordinating outfits or?
Wait, are we coordinating outfits right now?
Last week we wore red. This work we wore gray.
I'm really sure.
I swear, are we wearing blue or black?
I mean, depending on how this Boston trip goes, I'll let you know. I might be blacked out. I might be screaming racism, telling someone to come get me. I got bail money. I just don't want to have bail money in Boston.
Even Vanessa got some gray on.
Everybody in this room matches. Like the synergy is great. That's the one thing. Like shout out to Keith. He said when you guys were recording in that parking lot on Hawthorne and 120th by the Starbucks by that hood Chinese spot that Mongolian lady works at, who's super nice, next to my middle school, Hawthorne Middle School. We were in that parking lot.
No Mongolian spot is in that Hong Kong Express. Sorry, Hong Kong Express, you're out of here.
Okay, well you probably went there and didn't.
I went there on Monday. I was looking forward to taking
motherfucker. Yeah.
I was looking forward to taking you today, but you had other plans.
Bro, I had literally
they have 30% off too.
Bro, I was home.
Grand opening.
I was home.
They have Mongolian
noodles.
noodles.
Tell my mom I was home. I was like, I called you and left a voicemail, and then you hit me up an hour later. I think
something's wrong with my phone. It's just going straight to voicemail a lot.
I feel like every time.
That's not a light skin excuse. It's real. It's been happening. I don't know why shit keeps going to voicemail.
For this and other culturally concise commentary on Touchdowns and Tangents, you can listen to us every week.
Man, it doesn't take 6 hours to answer my text.
I didn't take 6 hours, bro. I just told you what it was.
Vanessa's still waiting for her first interview, bro.
Wait, what? Hold on, time out. I don't know what the fuck you meant by that. You're throwing a lot at me right now, and I'm still hungry. And I'm probably going to go drink later. And I owe you a milkshake, so we should probably get out of here. But yeah, salute to Courtside. Why did I say Courtside Radio? Oh, yeah, because I brought a burrito and I had it in my pocket and y'all didn't show up. So fuck you guys. Love y'all, though. Shout out to everybody on the Good News Sports, Good News Network. We are technically the oldest sports show on the network, and we're very proud of that. Because when we came in, we were on like episode 38. So we're older than Courtside Radio. Salute to y'all. Stop trying to do football podcasts without us. Before I call in and flame all you motherfuckers.
Before I call Killmonger again in here.
Don't make me turn into Kenny Killmonger, bro. I'm Uncle Kenny right now.
Don't make me call Daddy again.
Don't make me. My glasses fell off my face.
They were all shook, bro.
They called Danny. You're like, oh shit, the real king is here. But nah, all jokes aside, thank you to everyone who rocks with us this 5th anniversary show. Salute to Mancini, everybody in the group chat. Salute to my mom. Salute to Vanessa. Salute to everybody who's here.
Watch it on YouTube so you see me do dumbass shit like I'm doing right now.
And you can watch me. My glasses totally fell off my face. Like, this shit's ridiculous. And I definitely look dark on camera.
Yo, what you do?
I don't know.
What are you doing?
So damn tangled.
Bro, are you on crack?
This is more tangled than August and Jada. And Tupac and Will.
Wow, that's fucked up. Even though I think that's just messed up.
All right, y'all. Tune in next week.
Shout out to Nebraska football for still sucking.
NFL takes, topical tangents, Good News Sports, X Squad affiliates, FBC Radio.
A little bit too much swearing. Peace. We love you, though.
Bye, Vanessa out.
That's a tagline. Good job. You just didn't. There you go.